It was a quiet afternoon in a small suburban town. The sun was warm but not too hot, and the streets were mostly empty except for a few cars passing by. Kids were getting off school, and adults were finishing their workday. Everything seemed normal, peaceful, just like any other day. Jason was a 17-year-old boy who knew this quiet town all too well. He wasn't just any teenager. He was one of the most popular kids at school. Not because he was the best at sports or the smartest in class, but because he had a talent for going viral online. His phone was almost always in his hand, ready to catch any moment that could get likes, comments, and shares. He loved the attention, the thrill of watching his videos spread fast, and the way people reacted to his posts. For Jason, the internet was his stage, a place where he felt important, cool, and unstoppable. But sometimes the smallest choices can change everything. One moment, a simple click, a short video, things that seem harmless at first, can grow into something much bigger, something no one expects. This story started with just one video, one that wasn't supposed to hurt anyone, but it did. That afternoon, Jason was walking home from school, scrolling through his phone like usual. As he passed the bus stop near the corner of Maple Street, something caught his eye. A man, maybe in his 40s, sat alone on the bench. His shoulders shook with quiet sobs. Jason slowed down, curious but also a little surprised. The man looked upset, really upset. But instead of feeling sorry or wanting to help, Jason felt a strange mix of amusement and boredom. He thought about how weird it was to see someone crying in public. To him, it was like watching a scene from a movie, not real life. Without thinking much, Jason lifted his phone and started recording. The man didn't notice. Jason caught just a few seconds of the man wiping tears, trying to hold himself together. Then, with a small sharp laugh, Jason whispered, "When life hits you like your Uber cancels." Jason quickly posted the clip online with that caption, expecting some laughs from his followers. He didn't see anything wrong with it. To him, it was just a joke, something to make people smile. He imagined the likes and funny comments rolling in. But there was a quiet weight under the moment, something Jason didn't notice at first, because sometimes the people we laugh at are hurting in ways we don't understand. And sometimes what seems like a harmless joke can start a chain of events that no one can stop. At first, the video seemed like a big hit. Jason's phone buzzed non-stop as the clip started spreading through his friends' chats and social media feeds. His classmates sent laughing emojis and messages like, "LOL, that's savage," and "Classic Jason." The video racked up thousands of views in just a few hours. Jason felt a rush. He smiled as he watched the likes climb higher and higher. This was exactly what he wanted. The attention, the approval. It felt like winning. But not everyone was laughing. Among the flood of comments, some voices stood out. One person wrote, "Why would you film someone in pain? That's cruel." Another said, "That man looks like he's really hurting. Shouldn't you help instead of making fun?" A few others asked questions that made Jason pause, even if only for a moment. Still, most people seemed entertained. It was easy to get lost in the noise of the jokes and shares. Then, something unexpected happened. A woman left a comment that changed everything. She said, "I know that man. He's not just some random stranger." The comment caught Jason's attention, and soon, so did everyone else's. People started digging into the story behind the man on the bench. Rumors and whispers began to spread fast, and the tone of the conversation shifted. The laughter started to fade. The mood online became heavier, filled with questions and a growing sense of unease. People weren't sure if Jason's video was funny anymore. Instead, many felt uncomfortable, even angry. As the narrator would say, "Not all laughs mean you're winning." Jason was just beginning to realize that his simple joke might lead to something he never expected, a storm that could change his life forever. As the video spread, people started to learn more about the man on the bus stop bench. His name was Mr. Clark. He wasn't just some random stranger. He was a well-known teacher at the local high school. A quiet man who had always been kind to his students and co-workers. But recently, Mr. Clark's life had changed in ways no one could have imagined. The community soon discovered that Mr. Clark had lost his wife just a few weeks before. She had been sick for a long time, and he had spent many nights at the hospital by her side. The day Jason filmed him, Mr. Clark had come straight from the hospital, overwhelmed with grief. As people shared his story, the laughter around the video turned into silence. Social media was filled with messages of sympathy and support for Mr. Clark. Parents and students began posting memories of how patient and caring he had been. Some people even started asking how they could help. The mood online shifted from mockery to mourning. Jason's followers who had once cheered his joke now questioned if it had been right to share the video at all. Many felt a deep sadness, realizing that grief doesn't ask for privacy, but it deserves it. For a moment, the online world paused to remember that behind every face is a story, one filled with pain, love, and loss. And yet, the damage was already done. Mr. Clark's tears were no longer just a private moment. They had become something public, and that changed everything. The narrator's voice grows softer here, full of empathy. Sometimes, people don't choose to show their pain. But when they do, we owe them respect, not judgment. Jason's joke, meant to get laughs, had unknowingly hurt someone who was already broken. The next morning, Jason woke up to a storm he never saw coming. His phone was flooded with messages, not the funny kind, but angry ones. His school had found out about the video. Teachers and principals were upset. The school principal called his mother and asked for a meeting. His college applications were suddenly in question, as rumors spread about his lack of judgment. At school, whispers followed him down the halls. Friends who once laughed now avoided his gaze. Some students openly criticized him during classes. The popular kid was losing his glow fast. Jason's mother was the hardest to face. When she finally sat him down, her eyes were full of disappointment and hurt. "How could you be so careless?" she asked, her voice shaking. "Do you even understand what you've done?" Jason tried to explain that it was just a joke, that he didn't mean to hurt anyone, but his words sounded weak, even to himself. Feeling guilty, Jason sent a private message to Mr. Clark. He wrote, "I'm sorry for filming you. I didn't know what you were going through. Please forgive me." Hours passed with no reply. Days. The silence was loud. Jason began to realize something painful. Sometimes sorry is a word too late. The online world that once cheered him had turned against him. Comments on his posts grew harsher. Some people even dug up his personal information, his address, phone number, and other details, and shared them online. Suddenly Jason was not just embarrassed, he was scared. He received messages threatening him, calling him names, and demanding he leave town. The line between public shame and danger blurred. Jason felt trapped, alone in the middle of a storm he had started. The narrator's voice grows heavy here, reflecting on the cost of youth's arrogance. Sometimes the rush for likes and attention blinds us. But the real world doesn't forgive so easily. And the internet, it never forgets. Jason's mistake was a lesson written in pain, for him, and for everyone watching. After days of feeling lost and overwhelmed, Jason decided to go back to the bus stop, the place where it all began. He needed to face what he had done, to find some kind of peace, or maybe just to understand. When he arrived, the bench was empty at first. The quiet afternoon felt heavier than before. Then from around the corner, he saw him, Mr. Clark, sitting alone again, just like that day. This time the man wasn't crying, he was calm, staring at the ground. Jason's heart pounded. He wasn't sure if Mr. Clark would want to talk to him, but he had to try. Slowly, Jason walked over and sat down on the other end of the bench. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Jason's voice cracked as he finally said the words he had been holding inside. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was wrong to film you. Please, can you forgive me?" Tears welled up in Jason's eyes. The weight of everything, the shame, the fear, the regret, crashed down all at once. Mr. Clark looked up, his eyes steady and calm. He didn't seem angry or bitter. Instead, he spoke quietly. His voice soft but firm. "I'm not the one who needs to forgive you." Jason blinked, confused and hurt. Mr. Clark paused, then continued. "Forgiveness is for the person who has to carry the pain. You have to forgive yourself first." Jason sat back, swallowing the lump in his throat. It wasn't the answer he expected, but maybe it was the one he needed. In that moment, two broken people shared a quiet understanding that mistakes don't define us, but how we face them does. Just as the sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows on the quiet street, Mr. Clark stood up. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small folded note. Without a word, he handed it to Jason. Jason's hands trembled as he unfolded the paper. The note was a poem, written in neat, careful handwriting. It was from Mr. Clark's late wife, a message about kindness, especially to those who suffer quietly in public places. The poem spoke about seeing pain without judgment, about offering respect instead of laughter, and about the quiet power of compassion. It was a gentle reminder that everyone's story mattered, even the ones we don't understand. Clark gave Jason one last look, then quietly walked away, disappearing down the street. Jason stood there, reading the words again and again, feeling something inside him shift. It wasn't just a lesson about shame or mistakes, it was a lesson in being human. The narrator's voice softens, full of hope. Sometimes the hardest lessons come wrapped in kindness, because in the end the world isn't made better by clicks or likes, it's made better by compassion. And with that, Jason's story wasn't just about a video anymore, it was a reminder for all of us. Don't let clicks matter more than compassion.